Yo, it still works, let's go. That's amazing. Although I'm starting to think this is more of an engine thing than it is a me thing. Alright, we're back again. This one might be a little bit more loose, but I do want to talk about the update. I wasn't going to cover this game again until 2.0 released, but given that this update is a good chunk of what the 2.0 update was supposed to be, and the fact that some people have asked me if I'll cover this update, I'm here again to talk about it. I'm not going to be retreading old ground, as if you want my thoughts on the game as a whole, check out the last video. Which, by the way, thank you. Seriously, I wasn't expecting that video to pop off, but I went on vacation and came back to it with closer to the views it has now. I will be addressing some stuff I talked about last time, but that stuff is minor and this video will be primarily for the update. Without further delay, let's get started. This update is fantastic. They put out a video briefly covering most of the update, but just like last time, I'll be giving my thoughts and opinions on stuff. Let's get started with some stuff I mentioned in my last video, and then we'll tackle the update. Emeralds and Supers. I can finally share with every 10 emblems collected. That's when you gain a Chaos Emerald. Character tokens remain the same, you get them every 5 emblems, and if you're impatient, there's a shop to buy those for the rings you've collected. This works out to be that you need 70 emblems to get the emeralds, or I'm happy to share that the old special stages are indeed back too. You can get the emeralds that way too, as both methods work. In order to play the special stages, it's the old tried and true 3K method of finding a large ring in a stage and hopping on through. I wouldn't say they're hard to find if you're actively looking for them. I know that I kinda wasn't looking for them, and as a result I only bumped into one of them that I happened to notice. Here's how that went.
Playtime is over.
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting a jump like that right off the rip. My depth perception absolutely failed me, and I will take the comments of having a skill issue. On the other hand, I did collect the emeralds this time, so I can talk about super forms. They're what you would expect a super form to be like. Faster speed and acceleration, invincibility, a music track that repeats every 30-ish seconds. Not everyone has super forms, but everyone can go super. Those who have super forms are who you'd expect, with really well done models to boot. For those who don't have super forms, they get the Sonic Heroes treatment of having a little aura around them. Two things I'd like to see added in regards to supers is maybe under effects in the shop, have one that, when active, disables the super theme so you can stick with the stage theme while super. Then under skills, you could have one that allows you to revert forms by holding the button to transform. Those would be nice little things. Speaking of the shop, it got a makeover. And they added ray tracing. Wait. Okay, hang on. No. This is not... What is this? Is this just a waste of rings? But in all seriousness, I do like the visual changes to the shop. It's a lot more cleaned up. I don't remember there being a Ann Knuckles mode last time, but I do find it funny. Something I noticed that sometimes the Ann Knuckles would all be dressed in the Dread costume. A little funny given that at the time of writing this, Sonic Prime's 3rd season is 2 days away. Can't wait for them to somehow drag that narrative out even longer, but hey, I'm here for it. That leads nicely into the next thing. Some people got new costumes in this update. I mentioned Dread Knuckles, but some others got some too. Omega has a costume that gives him a gun paint job that makes him look like some of the gun boss mechs. Sonic has one that's labeled as Anti, and damn, that's a callback! If you know, you know. Penders, stay away. Silver gets a Knight's costume, that's absolutely sick. And then finally, Rouge gets a sort of rockstar look. Some things I want to bring up from last video. I made it a point to talk about controls with a controller and my experience with it. However, I feel like I did so briefly. I mentioned how the game has support for controllers, but it's not the ideal way to play. I know there's a lot of people who either have issues with their controllers or just can't seem to get them to work to begin with. The only thing I can tell you is just get an Xbox controller. Something that works well with the Windows out of the box is perfectly fine. If you still have issues after that, then I can't help you. Ever since I played Sonic World back in Legacy, I've always used the controller. When I first got into it, I was using a Rock Candy 360 wired controller. Those tend to break more than Joy-Cons, to be honest, and so after my last one got stick drift, I just went and got the official adapter for wireless 360 controllers to work on PC. Around the time I got my current PC, I also grabbed a Xbox One controller. I never got the chance to try that controller out on Sonic World because anyone who's seen me play Sonic Heroes knows exactly what happened to that controller. Okay, we're done. After that one, I got my current one, which is a Series X controller, and I've had no issues since. While I do own a Wii U Pro controller as well as a Switch Pro controller, I've never bothered trying to hook them up to my PC, so I can't say what the game is like on those. I know some people also run this game through Steam and do their controller mapping that way. I'll be honest, I just boot the game itself. I've never bothered adding it to Steam and all that. With all that mentioned, let's finally dive into the meat of this update. Stages. So there's been some changes to stages. Firstly, acts are now unlocked one at a time, and each act has its own set of red rings to collect now. Before, it was only the main act, and I like this change as it makes getting to the city portion of the island much easier and faster. The change with red rings also now makes it where it's no longer required to get all of them in the first act to unlock the stage's encore act. Now to get to the encore act, you just gotta beat all the other acts of that stage. I adore this. As before, while I love the encore acts, I didn't get the chance to play all of them, so getting that change was amazing. Some of the encores are so much fun too. Green Hill's encore is Lost Valley from Forces, but it's pretty much just a minified take of their own Green Hill, and it's awesome. Very reaction heavy and just a blast to play through. I could honestly just make a whole separate video ranking stages and characters, but let's stay on track for this. The only odd thing I've noticed has been that they removed Kingdom Valley's encore. Don't know what the deal is with that, but I have to wonder if they're going to replace it with something better. Speaking of better, this update comes with 4 stages, being Chemical Plant, Skyrail, Space Colony Arc, and Rusty Ruin. The Arc and Skyrail were legacy stages that have been brought back with a new coat of paint. They're fantastic. The Arc's first act is a Sonic World Legacy stage, Act 2 is a port of Meteor Head from Sonic Adventure 2, Act 3 is Sonic Generations' Shadow Fight stage as a racetrack, and finally the Encore Act is Asteroid Coaster from Colors. Skyrail is a stage I didn't play a lot of when I played Legacy, so it was basically a new stage for me, and it's solid. Its Act 1 is just Skyrail, and then its Act 2 is Pumpkin Hill. Rusty Ruin is probably the weakest stage of the batch for this update. It's nothing to do with the stage itself. It's based off of just the team pushing the game to its limits. It's a good stage, but it's choppy for its frame rate. They fixed that restart slowdown I mentioned last time, but it doesn't matter if I'm recording or not, this stage experiences a lot of slowdown. I'm pretty sure it's more of an engine thing since my system is rocking a 2060 Super and no other stage runs like this. Act 1 is solid, but experiences slowdown a lot. Act 2 is a flicky hunt, and it's perfectly fine, no slowdown at all. And then Act 3 is Act 1, but with weather effects and a timer. Slowdown is brutal here. Now, right before I dive into the final stage I'll be talking about, I just want to thank the devs. This game has provided me with a ton of fun over the years, and it wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. I know the DX team is not the same team who did Legacy, but I share the same sentiment towards those people too. I know that the game is taking a bit of a break as some of the devs just feel a little burnt out, and honestly, if playing as much Sonic as I have been in the past 3 years has taught me anything,
oh no!
It's that don't rush into things, it's more than okay to slow down. The DX Discord is genuinely a good space, and while I may not interact often in it, it's still good. One thing I will mention, if you go in asking stupid questions, expect stupid answers. Alrighty. Chemical Plant. Holy crap is this stage fun. The team knocked it out of the park with this stage. Between the voice acting to the dynamic camera angles, this is incredible. This might be my favorite stage so far. I know Sonic 2 was my first game I ever played, so there might be some bias there, but this captures the sense of speed that Sonic 2 has really well. Act 2 is a cyberspace stage of Chemical Plant, and hearing Sage was something I was not expecting. And then Act 3 is a little collectathon act that was pretty fun. At first I didn't know that you could get up to the highest point, so I was losing it, but once I found the way up there, that's also a really good stage. Honestly, not a single thing I can say negatively about it. It's just a blast, and I can't remember the last time I've caught myself having both a ton of fun, but also actively smiling while playing a game. Alright, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I'm still going to go and unlock Agrobo the way I said I was going to. The update made unlocking him easier, but nah, I'm committed at this point to unlocking him in 1.1.3. If you're wondering why I play as Shadow for the most of this video, it's purely because of a friend of mine made me aware of the Project Shadow fan film, and I absolutely adore that. That was such a good flick all around. Next time I cover DX will be 2.0, and I am standing by that. If I unlock Agrobo before then, I'll post that 30-second clip, but that'll be all. Next video is in the works, has been since a month after I put up the first Sonic World video. It's a proper video essay or retrospective of a series that the channel is named after. Figured I'd give that a break and work on this DX follow-up since this came up. Until then, if you want more DX, check out their Discord. You can see some sick sneak peeks like what I'm showing currently. As always, thanks again so much for everything you guys have done. I'm still blown away by the last one, and I can't wait until I talk about this blue rat again. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.